Have you ever wondered if some people deserve forgiveness? Like, really deserve it? What if I told you that there's a kind of harm so deep, so deliberate, that forgiveness isn't just impossible? It's wrong. Nietzsche once said, "He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster." But what if the monster you're facing is someone who means to hurt you on purpose? Can you forgive that? Picture this. A close friend betrays you, not because they're careless or confused, but because they want to see you fail. They lied about you to others, ruined your reputation, and smiled while doing it. We all want to believe in forgiveness. We want peace. But when the betrayal is born out of malicious intent, not an accident or weakness, forgiveness feels like swallowing poison. You might have experienced something like this, maybe a toxic coworker, an ex who lied, or a family member who deliberately hurt you. And maybe, just maybe, you told yourself, "I should forgive them. It's the right thing to do." But what if forgiving them is exactly the wrong thing? Most people think forgiveness is a kind of magic reset button. You forgive, you move on. Everyone's happy. End of story. But that's not how real life works, because not all wrongs are equal. Not all offenses are accidents or misunderstandings. Some are calculated. Some are done with clear intent to harm. And here's the kicker. Forgiving malicious intent can harm you more than the original wrong. It can blur your boundaries, make you vulnerable, and let that monster grow inside you or around you. The deeper problem? We confuse forgiveness with weakness or moral superiority. We tell ourselves, "Forgiving shows I'm better." But Nietzsche cuts through that sugar coating. He says forgiveness without justice or recognition of intent is a form of self-deception. He warns that forgiving everything, especially when faced with clear evil, means you risk losing your own strength and clarity. So what does Nietzsche say about this? He writes in Beyond Good and Evil, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." That is the nature of living creatures. What does that mean? Simply put, if you can't stand up for your own values and boundaries, you'll end up controlled by others, especially those who don't have your best interests at heart. Let's break it down. When someone acts with malicious intent, they're not just wrong, they're trying to control or dominate you. They want power over you, your mind, or your emotions. If you forgive them too easily, without recognizing the harm they meant to cause, you're basically saying, "It's okay to treat me this way," and that's obeying them, not yourself. Think about a workplace bully. If you brush off their cruel comments, hoping it'll make things better, you're giving them more power. You're obeying their command, whether you realize it or not. But if you recognize their intent, that they want to hurt you, and refuse to forgive or ignore it, you're standing up for yourself. You're reclaiming your power. Nietzsche's point is brutal, but clear. True strength means saying no to malicious intent, not pretending it didn't happen or that it's forgivable. You have to obey yourself first, your sense of dignity and justice. Pause for a second. What if forgiveness isn't about the other person at all? What if it's about how you let their actions affect you? This isn't easy. Nietzsche's philosophy isn't about warm hugs and second chances. It's about facing harsh truths with clarity. Let's take a real example. Imagine a friend spreads lies about you. If you say, "I forgive you," but don't call out the lies or protect yourself, you've done nothing to stop the damage. Worse, you've told yourself those lies don't matter. But what if instead you confront the lie and the liar? You refuse to let them walk over you. That's not unforgiving. That's self-respect. Nietzsche would say that forgiveness without this respect for truth and your own boundaries is empty. It's self-betrayal. Let's dive into another sharp line from Nietzsche. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. Beyond good and evil. This one's famous, but many miss the full meaning. It is not just a warning about losing your morals by fighting evil. It is a reminder that how you respond to malicious intent matters deeply. When someone hurts you on purpose, your first instinct might be to strike back with anger, revenge, or even cruelty. But Nietzsche warns, if you let yourself become as vicious as the person who hurt you, you lose your own ground. You become the monster. But here's the twist. Does that mean you have to forgive? No. Nietzsche isn't saying, turn the other cheek and be a doormat. He's saying, don't adopt their maliciousness. Stand firm without becoming cruel yourself. So how do you do that? By setting clear boundaries and acting from strength, not from blind rage. Imagine someone spreads lies about you at work. Your choices. You could respond with nasty rumors back, or you could confront the lies clearly, defend yourself honestly, and move forward. The first option drags you down to their level. The second protects your integrity without giving in. Ask yourself, am I defending myself or am I trying to hurt back? That's the crucial difference. Here is a tough question. Have you ever felt so angry at someone that you said or did things you later regretted? Did it make you stronger or weaker? Take a social media feud. It's tempting to respond with insults, but often that just fans the fire. You become what you hate, a source of pain, not peace. If you instead refuse to engage in name-calling, but clearly call out the bad behavior, you keep your dignity and force the other person to confront their own actions. Nietzsche calls this mastery of self, controlling your response to malicious intent, so you don't lose yourself. Here's another powerful Nietzsche quote. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind. What does this have to do with malicious intent? It's about growth and the necessity of seeing things clearly without illusions. You might be wondering, wait, I thought forgiveness was about growth and moving on. Isn't holding on to anger unhealthy? Nietzsche says no, not if what you're holding on to is awareness of real harm done with malicious intent. Holding on to anger here isn't petty grudges. It's refusing to pretend something never happened. It's refusing to let the offender off the hook. When you forgive without acknowledging malicious intent, you re-stuck in a mindset that refuses to shed skin, that refuses to grow into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone close to you repeatedly lies, manipulates or undermines you, not by mistake, but on purpose. If you keep forgiving without recognizing their true intent, you stay trapped in a cycle, trusting the untrustworthy, exposing yourself to new harm again and again. That's like trying to shed your skin, but ignoring the old one still clinging tight. Nietzsche calls that not physical death, but the death of your mind and self-respect. What if true forgiveness, if it exists, means never forgetting who intended to hurt you? Does that change how you think about letting go? Think of a relationship where one partner is emotionally abusive on purpose. If the other partner keeps forgiving without recognizing the malicious intent, they don't grow, they diminish. On the other hand, acknowledging the harm fully, refusing to excuse it, and acting to protect yourself is what leads to real growth and self-preservation. You might be asking, isn't this all a bit harsh? Shouldn't we be kinder? Nietzsche would say kindness without truth is weakness, and weakness invites more harm. So here's the blunt truth. Refusing to forgive malicious intent isn't cruelty. It is the only way to stay alive in mind and spirit. Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. When you ignore malicious intent, when you pretend someone didn't mean to hurt you, you don't just risk getting hurt again. You risk losing yourself, your instincts dull, your self-respect erodes. And worst of all, you start to believe that you deserve what happened. That's the real cost. Nietzsche said, "Distrust all in whom the impulse to punish is powerful." Thus spoke Zarathustra, but here's what that really means. Be careful around those who enjoy hurting, who don't lash out from pain, but from pleasure. That's what malicious intent looks like. Someone who punishes because they want to. Now, imagine forgiving someone like that. What does that do to you? It teaches you not to trust your gut. It rewires your sense of danger. And sometimes it keeps you stuck in toxic patterns for years. You shrink. You explain things away. You smile when you want to scream. And somewhere deep down, you wonder why you don't feel like you anymore. So here's what we've seen. Malicious intent is different from a mistake. It's not clumsy. It's not confused. It's targeted, and it demands a different response. Forgiving it too easily gives your power away. Nietzsche warned, obey yourself or be commanded by others. That includes people who mean to harm. You can protect your dignity without becoming cruel. It's not about revenge, it's about boundaries, recognition, strength. So what can you actually do? Here's one small thing. Think back to one person you've forgiven, but who meant to hurt you. Ask yourself, did I really forgive them? Or did I just stay silent because it was easier? Write it down. Say it out loud. Clarity is the first step to reclaiming your voice. Nietzsche once said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe." Untimely meditations, he meant. Sometimes the world will tell you to be nice, be the bigger person, let it go. But if that comes at the cost of your truth, it's not virtue, it's surrender. So ask yourself this, who have you been too quick to forgive? Just because everyone told you to? Let me know in the comments. No need to name names. Just share the moment. Because naming it is how you stop it from owning you. So if this hit home, do the usual. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss it. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to stop forgiving people who meant to break you.